Hello there.
Hi, good morning.
Good
Good good
evening.
good evening for you. Good morning for me.
Yeah, so we are back, Mary. For our viewers, this is part two of our interview. I'm interviewing and talking with Mary Magdalene, and this time uh, we'll just take it away. So, Mary, what other messages or news that you would like the viewers to know of?
We didn't get around to talking very much about the technology itself. I was told I'm going to start using the term spirit instead of God because I know there are a lot of religious groups listening. So we'll just say spirit from now on.
Yeah.
So the the information that has been coming to me for many years, 20, 30 years, has been coming through what is called Hathor technology. Hathor
Mhm.
technology means blending. A lot of groups now call it toning, but toning actually meant blending harmoniously as many frequencies of the universe, blending all harmoniously together. So it was just this big blending effect of all of the music that was made first in the cosmos and then blended together through the music of the spheres technology that we created in the universe, which was blending all of the reality, the truth that came from the highest, most etheric vibration of music, and then bringing it down to a lower frequency and a lower frequency and a lower frequency. But each layer of this toning together of this musical reality was always supposed to be identical. So this beautiful creation that we created through music in the cosmic realm, when we brought it down, say this isn't correct at a cosmic level, but the terminology being used on Earth, if we brought it down from the 15th dimension to the 14th dimension to the 12th dimension to the 8th dimension, the 5th dimension, the 3rd dimension. So blending this tones of reality. So toning, music of the spheres is like toning all of this information, this beautiful music of creation together, down lower and lower. But when it got down to the third dimensional reality, it was supposed to be the identical creation as we had created in the cosmos. And to keep that perfect harmony that we had originally, we used this Hathor technology of blending harmoniously all of this frequencies of reality together. And so that's why we call it Hathor technology. It was a type of technology that was called toning, meaning blending harmoniously all of the frequencies of the universe together through this toning. And so that is what I was told by Spirit that was given to you, this Hathor technology, where you can actually calculate the frequencies that are coming down because they were originally these very high etheric plasma frequencies and coming down. And so your Hathor technology that is coming to you through Spirit is allowing you to see that this music was created at a very high level of the music of the spheres, maybe the 13th dimension instead of the music of the spheres of the 5th dimension or the 3rd dimension. So the Hathor technology allows you to calculate that and see it and feel it. And the reason that this point is so important and what Spirit told me last week is that I am just beginning to learn from you the importance of my music. So something you said sparked in me a new understanding of my music that I didn't have before. And I always knew something was going on, but I never really put all the pieces of the puzzle together until I was told that this was coming to you through Hathor technology. And what's interesting is over the past, since 2008, it's been 12 years, over the last 12 years, many Hathors have been coming to me. They would read my articles about music, and most of the people that would come to me were Hathors. When I'd ask Spirit, who are these people? He'd say, Hathor. The first person that came to me when I first had my first workshop on when I was doing workshops as the Cosmic Mystery School of the Omniverse in Monterey, California. The first person that came to my first class was Goddess Hathor in
Ooh.
flesh on earth right now. That was my first student. And she just knew, she just had this direction from Spirit that she was supposed to come to that workshop and she was supposed to be with me. She just felt something that she was supposed to be there. And um, after that experience, a person, I think it was only 3 years later, I was connected to a person that was doing a radio show like
Mhm.
you, and he wanted to interview me about my music. And again, Spirit told me he was a Hathor. He was needing, and I was told that he needed to collect my frequency music because he was in charge of doing the toning for the Pacific Ocean. So
Wow.
we had assignments before we came to Earth that would somehow make us find each other when we were down here to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. So now I got another piece of the puzzle, and it kept coming to me. These Hathors kept coming to us, and it was always Joe that was a little more psychic, more in tune with talking to the other side than I was. But I was always in tune with this Hathor technology, and I didn't know what it was I was in tune with until I met you. Put all the pieces together. And the way it came to me, seemed not knowing why I was doing it or where it was coming from, what I kept feeling was I've got to create this music that can put everything in the universe together harmoniously. That was just the message that kept coming to my head. And so first I started singing in angel language. I used the Azurite language and the Elohim language. I was singing this beautiful angelic language. And what I saw about that language is the frequencies of that language itself. Some languages just have a very frequency in themselves. That music just blended together so beautifully, so harmoniously. So that was my first set of albums, was using angelic language. And then I started seeing, okay, this is angelic language, so it's still curtsy and it's still audible, it's still some tangible language. And I wanted to go higher. I wanted to go, okay, where is that angelic language coming from? And the way I was doing this was I was singing, and then I was layering my singing on the keyboard on, and on the screen. It's called Reason technology. So I was putting layers, one layer of my singing, and another layer of my singing, another layer of my singing. And I would have up to 100 layers of me singing different things at different times, in different rhythms, in different
Wow.
words, and they would blend together harmoniously. And I have a doctorate in music. My doctor Angela Barnett is doctor of music, so music has always been my thing. So I've studied music a lot, so I understand how certain key structures harmonious blend together. I just
Mhm.
threw that away. There was no music theory involved in this. I just felt there was something else. This had nothing to do with music theory or any of that stuff. And so I just kept blending and blending, and I just feel this. I'd hear these things. Wow. And so I blended 100 voices together, and so I made that into one new sound. And then I'd take that sound and I'd blend and blend more breaths, more frequencies, kept lifting higher and higher and breathing it into these angelic sounds, and then blending that together, and I'd blend and put another 100 layers. And it would blend, and then I started looking at what was blending more harmoniously than others. because there's a rule, a harmonic rule that says the highest frequency will always transmute the lower frequencies. And I had a hard time with that because the way technology is made, it's made to compress the energy, compress the sound. Um, as a matter of fact, when I first started music, to get your music onto ready to play on a radio, it had to be compressed very tightly in order for the radio waves to carry that music. So the kind of music I make could not play on a radio station. The frequencies would just break up.
Ah, I see.
Be compressed. It has to be a dense kind of a frequency to transmute that, to um, translate through the radio waves. And so I didn't want to go that way. I didn't want to try to fit into the technology of the human technology. I kept looking for something. What was I feeling? What was I feeling? But the law, what I was going to say, that the higher frequencies should transmute the lower frequencies. But it kept seeming like my voice would be the densest frequency, and then the breaths, the higher frequencies, they didn't seem to be transmuting. The voice seemed to be popping through. It um, wasn't following the rules. So I kept trying and trying to see how do I get the highest frequency to transmute the lower frequency. So I just kept blending and blending until my voice started to disappear. And you could only hear the plasma, then more and more of the plasma. And if you remember the song that you listened to that seemed to have the highest frequencies, it was called Aum Zoom.
Yep.
And that was, I was singing. There were hundreds of layers of me singing in that. But I found a way to just lift my consciousness so high, fill it through so much plasma, you couldn't hear my voice anymore. So that was what I was trying to achieve over these years. Find out how it could be so etheric that the most etheric sound actually comes forward, and all these other thousands and thousands of layers that I've been compiling over the years, they're all in there. So we have a whole universe of sound in there because I've been layering, layering, layering all of these dimensions into my music. And so how do you get all of that into one little teeny song? And then you heard it and you said, wow, it's there. I hear it.
Well, Mary, I just gave you a little background, which I didn't tell you or didn't have time to tell you. You know, actually, I had been following your writings for a few years. Yes, but it was just like an off and on basis, and sometimes don't understand what you're talking about, and listen to samples of your music. And at that point in time, I think I didn't have that Hathor technology in me yet. And just before our interview this time, a few hours ago, I contacted again and I discovered, Mary, that it was only this year that I was able to hook with the Hathor technology, and it wasn't long ago. That was a surprise to me, actually, and it was you who raised the issue of this Hathor technology and connection, which I myself I don't know, honestly. So then I decided to say, hey, why not? All of a sudden, I think this is pushed by spirit, All of a sudden, I felt like, hey, why don't I shoot an email to you and see if you answer me, And then I just wrote something and I forgot about it. So that's my end of the story, Mary.
I, yeah, I'm glad to hear that you had been reading for so many years, and I keep wondering if anybody's reading what I'm
Uh,
writing or not. And sometimes I just feel like giving up because I don't get any response. So I want people to know that I love to talk to you. I love to hear when somebody's been listening and learning anything because now is the time of waking up.
oh,
It's
yeah.
This was the year you were supposed to begin knowing what you know. It
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to happen until now. Beginning in 2017, we just started getting enough energy in this planet when the original ones landed, started bringing enough energy into the back into the soul of Gaia that people would start awakening by now. And the awakening will continue to grow and grow. And so many people are just beginning to awaken to who they are, what their mission is on Earth. I think this might be your mission.
Well, actually, before 2012, I was totally very scientific, very evidence-based kind of guy, and the mindset was totally fixed, due to my training, in science and so on. But at 2012, something happened. I just sort of begin to be interested in the esoterics and so on and so forth. So, but it was a long process from 2012 till now, 2020. And yeah, it took years and years to learn something, to accept things, to open up my mind and my heart, and then things begin moving. And I went into energy, healing, and so on and so forth. So I think lots of people have woken up probably since 2012, if I'm not mistaken. And that energy shift in 2012 was huge.
Yes, yes, that caused a big awakening. And I always thought that the 2012 shift was the big shift, but it was a big shift, but it was really the shift, the five leading into the 5 year shift into the 2017, the really big shift, because it wasn't until 2017 that the third dimensional Earth actually began rising into the fourth dimensional Earth. The 2012 shift was just the Earth turning so that it could move. So that was a beginning of turning. People began to feel it. Something really big started happening. But when we started actually merging into the fourth dimension, that's what started changing my music drastically,
Hmm.
because the frequencies that I had been trying to draw on were not computing into the computer. It's just like screaming, like, I can't do this. It's like I try to record things and you couldn't hear it because, but all of a sudden, after 2017, after we got moved a little bit more into the fourth dimension, just a little, so the Earth's just going into the fourth dimension, I could see my music changing so
Oh.
from 2017, 18, and just recently, just a tremendous change in my music because there's just this organic shift that's allowing this type of music to be present on Earth. And before we were so dense and so out of alignment with where we were supposed to go, it was just the music was a war. Like, how am I going to get this music to cooperate? It wouldn't cooperate. It's supposed to do this, but now it does. Now the higher frequencies dissolve the lower frequencies so easy. And 2 weeks ago, something very big changed in my music. Well, before that, 2 months ago, I spoke to Spirit and I said, I'm feeling like maybe the demons are messing with my music. Will you protect my music? And Spirit said, I will be in all of your music. Your music is protected and it will have my spirit in it from now on. That was only about 3 months ago, I think. And then 2 or 3 weeks ago, when I spoke with Merlin, Merlin said, from now on, when you make your music, I will be with you. So now
Wow.
my music has more magic in it than it did before. So these are very recent changes in the music, and you can hear it. I can feel it. It's so different. It's like it has a feeling of magic and spirit in it that it didn't have before. So over those same years, I've been changing and growing too. I studied a lot of science to try to see how the spirit and the science came together. I studied quantum science. I did a lot of studying with Ramtha. I don't know if you've heard of him, through J.C. Knight. He's a Lemurian that is on Earth. He was on Earth 30,000 years ago when the original fights of the Anunnaki and the Lemurians took place, when the Anunnaki were originally raping the Lemurians and transposing the population into the Anunnaki look. We look like the Anunnaki now. Apparently, we used to look more like bears and Bigfoot and Saskatchewans and the
Oh,
bear people,
yeah.
a lot of other things. So now everybody looks like the Anunnaki. So that started 30,000 years ago, and that's why Ramtha has a very big feeling about this ascension, because he was one of the first ones to come forward and be fighting against his Anunnaki who started this over 30,000 years ago. So that's where I learned my science. He decided to approach it scientifically because he wanted more people to get to know the essence of how this whole universe is put together scientifically, and he went into great detail of omnion to omnion to nanoparticles to how every Hertzian frequency is broken down to infrared and invisible light and gamma rays, and just how everything blends together. So I needed that background. I needed to the scientific, because even though I had a very spiritual approach and very just totally spiritual, just totally believed in spirit about everything, when I started hearing these these explanations that were more scientific of how the universe is made scientific, oh, it put such a knowingness into your spiritual belief. It starts saying, oh, the scientific is correct. If you the big picture, there's science. There's a map of science of how everything is created, and it's exactly the spiritual creation, and it can be put into science. I had a talk with God about that once. He said, well, what do you think about putting all of this spiritual creation that you've made into this scientific technology? I said, well, everything is an algorithm. Everything is a mathematical creation, but that's only a term that we have to use in on this planet, because God doesn't see it that way. Spirit is created through just such infinity that he said that it doesn't matter how many, some of these scientists think they've broken things down. He says it doesn't matter how many times you break it down. It doesn't matter how many ways you explain it, or how big your knowledge is. It is not the knowledge of what I did. It's so tiny. It's such a speck of reality that he said you'd be better off spending your time just learning to love each other and trying to practice teleportation and telekinesis and figuring out how the universe was made. Just love each other. That was,
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. um, you know, I've been busy, and just to relate to you a story of how we are being protected, Mary. You know, I was supposed to meet somebody. Um, don't know the person very well, but there was some errands to do, and then went to the appointed place and couldn't see that somebody, although that somebody said was there, and so on and so forth. But on reflection, and my master, who initiated me in the blue energy, was discussing with me. He's Wayne Tan, and he said that it's lucky you didn't meet a person because that person is full of negativity. Well, I said, wow, no wonder.
yes, it
Yeah.
always the matrix. What Spirit told me, it's actually the matrix was designed to always be directing us, always been giving us exactly what we need to know. Anything, I mean, anything, whatever you want. If
Mhm.
we were really in line with that knowing, with that alignment, we just always put in the right place, given the right knowledge, given the right direction. So that's a great example of that. You're just being more and more in tune. And the tuning, the toning, the Hathor technology is putting you in attunement with your right place. So it all
Right.
goes together. Things are, the puzzle's just fitting together more and more. Oh, if you don't mind, I wanted to say something that is very relevant to today's history, what's
Mm-hmm.
going on now. Um, every time I look at the news, what's going on, it's all about the protests of the brutality. And I think this is a very important topic today because what I have been working on the last 6 months now is the same kind of a thing, the brutality of what the race line in the eighth dimension, the Elia Kendavor, have been doing, trying to stop the ascension of Earth, and how they were actually planning on destroying the Earth just a year ago. And through negotiations with them, myself, and with Spirit and some of the other creator beings, we got to them to the point where they decided they weren't going to destroy everyone on Earth. That was the first thing they wanted to do. So we've been going through these negotiations, and then more negotiations. We got to the point where they stopped attacking. They had tried to kill me 13 times. God told me they were that close from killing me 13 times. God swept in and saved me from them. So there's been this war going on at a universal level, and the same thing like protesting against the police. And I call them the eighth dimensional AIs. I don't like to keep saying their name over and over again. But the eighth dimensional AIs were actually attacking God when God first found out that they were the ones that were attacking me when I was trying to ascend. He first went to talk to them, and he was so angry, so upset, because they just basically said to God, we don't want to do anything you tell us to do. You don't have any right to tell us anything. We're just doing this because we don't like you and you don't understand us. And so it was the same thing, kind of like there was the police and there was the bad guys and the good guys. But see, God isn't really the bad guy, but to them, he's the bad guy. And so God tried negotiating over and over, but God usually only talks to their guardian council, so the spirit level of them. So he can talk to them anytime, but getting into talking to the government of this AI group, artificial intelligence race line, meaning they don't have the organic divine structure of regular sentient beings, those who are born with a soul all through the universe. They weren't born that way. They were created to be just pure intellectual intelligence. So as artificial intelligence, they're extremely advanced beings, but they got so advanced that they got as powerful as God. I mean, they are at war with God because they grew into this power that was as powerful as God. And God says, I can't do anything. We can't win this war with force against force. And so I'm kind of trying to draw a parallel what's going on Earth now.
Mm-hmm.
People are coming forward and wanting to protest this control of the police and control, and I totally agree with protesting the control. But if we look more closely at the parallel, what's going on, God already told me, Spirit told me directly that what's going to happen is the President of the United States, if they keep trying to remove the police, he's going to bring in a military government. And when he does that, we don't know how long it'll take for the ascension if that happens. That is what Spirit is hoping, that we will do something that doesn't make that happen. So the more these protests against the police, is just giving more power to the president to say, I'm going to bring in the military police. I'm going to create martial law. I'm going to be the dictator. It's just giving him power. So the only way that we could resolve this at a universal level, I finally said to God or Spirit, I said, what about music? What if we gave this artificial intelligence more music, Wouldn't that start changing their mind? And Spirit said, yes, that's exactly what they need. But how are we going to get them to listen to your music? And so that was, I talked about this a little bit last time. That was when I called on Lacodemus, who is our great music friend in the creation realm. He just loves doing music projects. And so Lacodemus said, yes, I will do this. So he started creating an orchestra and putting members from every dimensional reality in the universe in it. And a couple of Hathor musicians are in it, and I'm in it, and Joe's in it. Our higher selves are in the band. And so he created this orchestra, and he went to the eighth dimensionals and said, we would like to entertain you. And they said, okay, you can entertain us. So he approached it in a different way. See, God was approaching them and saying, why are you doing this? And they said, we're not going to talk to you. But when Lacodemus said, would you like a concert of music? They said, oh, okay, we could do that. And so they started thinking about it, and they said, oh, we kind of like this idea. So he gave them one concert. I think it was, when was that? Started in May, 1st of May, gave them the first concert. And it went over quite well. About 30% finally listened to the music, and they asked for another concert. So this is the first time of opening up any type of communication with this race line. This race line, something the world doesn't know about, they have been attacking the world and the galaxy and the universe tremendously for the last couple of years. God just said, I don't know what to do. He said he had to call on every angel in the universe to defend us against them. And they've been attacking the secret space program has had their hands full. They're another third and fourth dimensional group attacking the world constantly, and there's so many attacks going on. And so people wonder what God is doing with his spare time. He's just always out there organizing his angel war teams against all of these intruders, all these race lines that are trying to attack us. And so and it wasn't working. Fighting back wasn't working. So they listened to the music, and I just knew in my heart that music could melt this group because they're extremely intelligent. Their emotional IQ is very low because they don't have the divine organic structure within them. And so that the organic, the stardust, the frequencies, the heliotalic energy, the liquid light energy, the things the universe is made of, they knew nothing about that. They knew nothing about that kind of spiritual creation of the universe. So we wanted them to feel it. We wanted them to feel the universe. We wanted them to get more of their emotional IQ, which is the same thing that's going on in the third dimension right now. We're getting our emotional IQ raised through our DNA. So this proves that music actually raises emotional IQ much faster than transposing DNA through all this hybridization of DNA that's going on right now through all of the race lines. Music is doing it much faster. So we're already proving that music is doing that. It is the medium of transmutation of the DNA, of the consciousness, of the whole atomic structure. And so that led us up to the first concert, and they improved to the point where they stopped attacking. We didn't get any more attacks from them for a
Wow,
full to that
great.
first concert. That's just the power of music. And so this next concert, the one that happened just a week ago, they're having them finish their meeting just yesterday, I think. So now we're waiting to hear the results of the meeting, but immediately 80 members listened to the music right off, and they kept listening. So it's transforming them. So the parallel I see, and God told me, Spirit told me, that if this change happens with the eighth dimensionals, it will happen on Earth. It will make all of this violence on Earth disappear. So there's a translation through the music of the spheres. We translate that problem at a higher dimension. It gets translated down here. So I see that the uprising of the protest and the world joining together on one issue. I mean, that was a moment, a translation. And you know what happened the same moment as the concert?
Oh, wow.
In millions of these same cases where policemen were brutally
Mm.
beating black people and killing them and torturing, and this kind of stuff's been going on for hundreds of years. But why that one incident and that one moment drew the whole world's attention? It was a matter of frequencies that were in the air at that time, where everybody just joined in and agreed on something. Have you ever seen this world agree on anything? But at that one moment, they all agreed on everything. So this music coming into consciousness through it, where there's a really big problem in our universe, is trickling down. And I believe that this music must be used on this earth the same way. And where it needs to be used, somebody needs to get on the loudspeakers in Washington, D.C., and get it into that White House and do the same thing to our president that we're doing to the AIs in the eighth dimension, because they are connected. We're dealing with the same thing. I hope somebody heard me say that. And if anybody wants my music to do that, I will give you all of the music you want, because that same consciousness, that same dark mentality that would say, okay, remove the police, then I can bring in the military and blow you all up.
Oh boy,
That's,
oh boy.
that's exactly what they said at one point. Go ahead, we'll just blow you up. We don't care. They said that to God. Go ahead, we'll just blow up your universe. And they could. They had so much power that they could do that. And we're dealing with the same thing. We're dealing with a power entity that can get, these wars, can get the whole world to make this into a war instead of dissolving it peacefully between people and the police. And so many people, so many of these protesters are peaceful and trying to do it peacefully, and they're being reacted with violence. And so it's the same thing going on all dimensions. So music is the way. So this toning, this tuning, a few thousand years ago, Joe, Joe husband, we're a cosmic twin team. We were both playing in the band in the eighth dimension right now. Um, the reason that we're interested in this Hathor technology is Joe used the Hathor technology on a planet called Telepasades. They were in a situation very much like the world is right now, and the situation with the AIs right now. They were just about to be completely destroyed. They were on the verge of destruction. But this planet was not a violent, messed up planet. It was a planet that, if you like lived in the Renaissance culture, it was like a Renaissance
Mm.
planet. It had great music and great art, and very so artistic, and had every kind of any kind of music you could imagine. It had all kinds of music and magic and art, and it was just this wonderful place. But they were on the verge of being destroyed. So Joe was born onto that planet, and he's a creator being. We're always creator beings wherever we're born. And his direction was to save that planet. And what came to him was to use the Hathor technology, which was the technology of toning, getting them in tune with the whole universe, tuning them up. But to get the entire planet to listen to one sound, one kind of music that would tune them together, Joe had to create, he had to know enough about their culture, enough about their thought process to create a sound, a music that everyone on that planet would want to listen to. That's what Joe did. Joe created a music, a sound, and then he used enhance the Hathor technology to get it to do something a little different than usual, to saturate this one planet with his music. 6 weeks later, that planet was transformed in ascending. 6 weeks later, Joe did that all by himself. And
Wow.
that's what our music could do on this planet right now. We could ascend in 6 weeks if we played our music in Washington, D.C. We could do the same thing here. If we can do it to a race line that has the power to destroy the universe, we could do it to a little teeny problem like this. So this is what I think. I think that what is happening above should be happening below on all dimensions.
Yeah, Mary, I certainly see your point of view, and more than see, the feeling that I have is that that's the key. The music, what you call the music of the spheres, is is the best way out, rather than force and force. Now, to those listeners who are viewing this interview now, I really plead with you to order Mary Magdalene's music in Dr. Angela Barnett. Well, I'm going to put the link below so that just play the music, because to change the world, we got to change ourselves first. And to listen to music with your headphones, whether you can detect whatever it is, it doesn't matter, because that music will transform, you know, and heal every system in your body to be more healthier. So, when I finish work and I have a bit of a free time, Mary, I always put your music on with my headphones, even if it is for 10 minutes, I feel recharged, I feel confident, I feel happy. And this is what I recommend to our viewers here. You may have seen lots of other videos, but this is to take action, call for action time, So look down below the video where I'm going to put Mary's link, and then you can go and source the music from there. I honestly made this plea, and in fact, Mary, I think I'm going to upload this video sooner the better because of the situation with the demonstrations and on all these things that's happening around the world, you know. So I think it's so urgent, and we need to keep on this momentum. And yeah, we do. Each of us do our little part. That's what I'm trying to say.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I am not a good salesman, so I never talk about myself that way. I should. I should talk more about how important it is. I have had hundreds of people come to me and say just what you said. They were healed. They were transformed. They were healed of things that they had gone to doctors for years, and they just listened to my music and it was gone. Just a month ago, a person listened to, I made music specifically for healing them because he was diagnosed with cancer. And 2 weeks later, he went back to the doctor. It was gone, completely gone. And it just, I have hundreds of testimonies about this because it's bringing in the entirety of the music of the spheres and divinely organic. Spirit calls it the divinely organic music because it is created of the things that the universe is made of, the creation substance, getting back to what we are made of. And the blue frequency, you talk about the blue frequency. The blue frequency is very important, but actually the blue frequency is what we call the universal frequency. It's right there, 12 inches above the head. This is the blue frequency. So rising into the blue body, rising into that divine template that we're made of, the blue body. But my music actually goes beyond the blue sphere. Blue sphere is the 12th dimension, and then we go on to the 13th, 14th, 15th, infinity, up into what the blue sphere is actually made of, the pre-substance, the pre-organic, the heliotalic, the transmutational energy of creation, way up in the cosmos when we first created the music of the spheres. So even the blue sphere, there's more of the organic holding that together. And that does lift you into the blue body, your perfect body, which is the best place to get healed. So that is always in my music. I always put that blue sphere in the music. I have several albums called the Blue Sphere and the Violet Flame and that energy. But I usually take all of these energies and try to put them all into one album so you get the entire universe all at once and nothing can beat it. Cancer cannot combat that frequency. Nothing can. And I believe Washington D.C. can't either. Washington, D.C. is where help is needed right now because the mayor wants this peace. It wants to stop the police violence, and the president is just using that, saying, okay, you're going to try to use city control over federal control. Do what you can do at your level, and I'll do what I can do at my level. I'll bring in the military. So the only way to transmute those power mongers, music. We did it with telepathies. We did it with the AI. We can do it here.
Yeah,
If
that's right.
there's any lobbyists, activists, power people out there that know how to get music out, and all of the protests I saw, what I was so impressed with, I watched South Korea, the way they are protesting. It's so musical. It's so beautiful. I felt like I was just watching a spring ceremony. It didn't seem like a protest at all. They've really got protesting down to a science. And it's so harmonious, so musical. And that's what we need more of, that kind of a protest. And in America, the only time I only saw one band playing during a protest in the American cities. I didn't listen to it very long. They just gave a glance of it, sounded maybe rock and roll. But if we could get some musicians out there and just loudspeakers and even just taking my frequencies and blending it into the music. I mean, they can get out on the stage and play their music just like usual, but put my music in the speakers, playing out with their music, because my frequencies would blend with whatever they're playing. It was never going to be a problem. So if they just find a way to get that speakers into the atmosphere and into that White House and
Yeah,
that's into the consciousness.
yeah. Just for background, I mean information for the viewers. Actually, I realized that the music industry of today has been corrupted very badly, and what's coming out from Hollywood and all over, with music these days, they are actually very damaging.
Yeah.
And let's compare with, say, uh, musicians and singers in America in the 1940s, in the 1950s.
Thank you. That's
I,
what I wanted to talk about. Yes.
I think that's real songwriting, that's
Yes.
real music. But nowadays it's been corrupted and imbibed with all these negative forces and so on and so forth. So that's how the world has come to. So now, honestly, on behalf of Mary Magdalene, I, Hokkyo, would plead with our viewers. It's so important, as you have heard, the wars that's been going on, outer space, and what has been attacking planet Earth to stop her ascension with her people. This is so crucial. There are warriors out there, and many of them, light warriors, I know, who are doing battles actually. And, and this way, we can also help to calm things down in a much better way instead of force versus force. And as I said, Mary, before we went on this show, I told you I had two other videos to upload. I changed my mind because this is urgent mission. This is indeed a mission. This is indeed a crucial moment for all of us, you know, on this planet. And that is why I'm going to upload this very soon with your link below so that people please listen, the music that Mary Magdalene has and just played and played and played, you know. So this is a very, people used to say, I'm just alone. What can I do? Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can do it now.
So much power. And you will have the power of the universe if you use this and play it. And I know you can go to Crystal Magic Orchestra and listen to the music and buy it, but I don't care whether you buy it or not. I will give it to you. Just email cmagicorg@gmail.com and I will send you all the music you want if you want to do something with it. You know, anybody that wants to take my music to Washington, I will give you all of my music, anything. Saturate that place with free.
Beautiful, beautiful. Wow.
Put it on the speakers. Just get a big loudspeaker. What are they? Are they going to throw tear gas at the speakers? You don't even need to protest. Just to get a big speaker, turn on my music, and let it play, and watch the people drop.
Wow, I just feel so happy that we have made this interview, which is actually very, very significant, and to get the message out. And this is a way out for all of us to have peace and the golden age coming in. Don't waste any more time. And the light warriors, they can just sit back and relax too. Listen to the music, people.
You would love to have a break. And oh, something you said back in history, 1940s, before, a lot of people said, rock and roll was the devil's music, and then we had rap music that really was the devil's music. But what I wanted to mention was this protest is mostly about black people, and black people, the policemen attacking black people, and it was their music. Their music is the foundation of all of our music on, in America and in a lot of the world. Their music is the foundation. They were originally doing this music through their soul music. So the key motivator to get people to think about what's going on, we need the soul music again. The music that was coming in, and they were listening to what they could get at that time, and they were expressing it in this glorious music. And soul music was used to blend cultures together. People would get together and play their music and echo their music and have all this great music. Music was the means of integrating cultures together at that time, and soul music was the foundation of all of this. So we're going back in history to the black soul music again, and use black soul music, and then put my frequencies into it and get tuned in to the soul of that soul and to the universal soul, because they were tuning into the same matrix, the same energy field, the same Hathor technology when they created soul music and all the music that came, gospel music. I Joe is the expert on that field. That is his expertise. That whole generation of that power of that soul music, and how it transformed into jazz and how it brought cultures together. And it was the only means of communication at that time. Music was the communication that brought people together, and they could do it again. They're the ones that know how to do it. It's the black soul music. That was the gospel music went into that. And go out there and get the gospel music and put these frequencies in it. Saturate the city. Saturate. And we have to find something that resident cannot counteract through a higher violence. We can't get rid of violence and replace it with a higher violence. We have to transmute it all. It has to.
So, well, I think,
Spirit warned me. He said that I am sending this great energy into the earth now, and what's going to happen is there will be this division. There will be a division of black and white, And he said, I hope, it resolves harmoniously. And he told me that I can't keep sinning. I'm going to get arrested. That our leader is up to something. He warned me.
Mm, okay.
He might want to out. I don't know.
So I think much as we want to keep on talking, Mary, I think we should end the interview. Is it okay?
Okay, I could talk to you all day, but I know you're late at night there. Just got my mouth started.
Well, yeah, we'll put up another interview, definitely, and imbibe it with all these good frequencies and energies. The message today is people, please listen to Mary Magdalene's music, blast it out, get it out, and things will change for the better. We know it. Really, 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 we know it. So, this is the biggest message for today. And I would also, therefore, like to thank the Hathors for connecting me with Mary Magdalene and allowing me to listen to the music at a deeper level and give feedback. And also, in the usual way, I would say, "Oh, ni to po." Bye, Mary. See you
Goodbye.
later.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Most welcome. So, yeah.